graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
I don't like friends very much. All of the people there are sluts.
They like the bad sex.
Those girls are so stupid, can't shave their armpits. Here is the razor, take it home. Don't talk French, this is not Canada.
They hold their record for losing at every war.
We should give those poor guys couple McDonald's.
Because they have the better French fries.
But France,
They are so gay.
Got his voices in my head. Just can't get them out sometimes.
This is Made Explosion. You're listening to Two Strangers on Podcast. Bunch of douchebags.
Hello, this is Santa Claus. You're listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. You know who else likes Two Strangers One Podcast?
My mom! A bunch of a-holes.
hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris,
I'm Paul.
and as we're recording, I'm kind of watching the Golden Globes. It's really just on my TV on mute because that would suck if we were recording and
Yeah,
I had
I would
audio in
stab,
the background.
I would stab you too.
Which reminds me, I just had to turn off my space heater because I forgot that comes up really loud in the recordings. So
how long do you want me to stab you for?
no, well, it's just right now they just had it was an award. It was the Grand Budapest Hotel won some sort of award. So that shows you like how up to the date we are, up to the minute we are, and I'm so fucking sick and tired of Wes Anderson and his stupid fucking movies and Jason Schwartzman and I don't like Bill Murray, and I probably said this in the past. Bill Murray, he had a chance to fucking make Ghostbusters 3 before his friend finally fucking died, and I don't think I'll ever like him again. As much as people like suck his dick and like, oh, he's such a wonderful guy and he's so funny. And don't get me wrong, I loved Bill Murray. I loved Bill Murray in Ghostbusters. I loved Bill Murray in Scrooged. I loved him in the Caddyshack, first Caddyshack. But after seeing, I loved him in Groundhog Day, which is why him and Harold Ramis got into issues because they were beefing over some sort of bullshit in when they were recording Groundhog Day, which is why Ghostbusters 3 never get made. And now Ghostbusters 3 is never not the incarnation that I want to see is ever going to get made. So, if Bill Murray didn't have his head firmly planted up Wes Anderson's ass, maybe we would have had a decent Ghostbusters 3 as opposed to whatever funky reboot that they're going to do. Even though I am kind of interested that they're saying, the director said that he's planning Ghostbusters 3. Of course, it's going to be a comedy, but like the ghosts are going to be scary. Which is kind of interesting. It sounds interesting, and I guess it's making the best out of a bad situation. But, just fuck Bill Murray. I just wanted to just get that out there. Just seeing his smug face on the TV along with Wes Anderson just kind of just pissed me off. Literally, moments before we're recording, I just seeing...
Yo, you're fuck you, Bill Murray.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's all the other actors coming up on the stage. But, it's like I said, Jonathan Schwartzman and what's that? The guy that played The Fly.
You're asking me a question I have no idea right now.
All I'm saying,
You forget that you're an older man than I am, sir.
Oh, okay. I'm an old man. So I guess we could kind of start into some topical stuff. This Je suis Charlie, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Basically, it's a French magazine that has been... now, of course, it's a weird situation because I guess I just started this whole show off on a negative note. I'm not a big fan of French people, and of course, I'm not a big fan of Muslim extremists.
No, I wouldn't see you as that. No. No.
So long story short, you got this magazine that has been doing... It does like political cartoons, but with that being said, it likes to do religious cartoons. It's poked fun at the Pope a whole bunch of times. It's poked fun at French, right-wing French conservatists or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And so now whatever, they drew a picture of Muhammad and ISIS showed up and just gunned down the offices of this Charlie Hebdo, one of their headquarters, and killed killed 12 people and 2 police officers.
Right.
And I just weren't these fucking people around like a couple years ago, like when a Danish, and once again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying didn't they see the fucking uproar that was made a couple years ago when they had the Danish cartoon where it was like the guy with like a with a turban that looked like an old timey bomb with the fuse,
Right.
It was just it's kind of stupid. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously we do a podcast. I'm all for free speech, but also don't pick a fight with crazy people. I think would be what I'm saying? Don't walk on a subway at 3:00 in the morning, like with money in your hands, like going, ha ha, look at me, I got money. Don't walk around with the sign that Bruce Willis had in Die Hard 3. Remember when the guy had him go up to Harlem and had like, I hate N-words or whatever.
Oh God.
I'm just saying is that, if you pick a fight with people that have been proven to be, fucking mentally unstable, people that are so into their religion that they're going to attack you. I mean, and I know your point that you want to make is that, it's not, it was just a limited attack, but I'm just saying is like, if you don't walk into a fucking, don't walk into a yard that has all but, pit bulls with a fucking, with a pork chop tied around your neck. You're gonna get bit.
Right.
It's like I'm saying, it's so funny because both sides, I don't like either side of the story. But I mean, like I said, I guess I'm supposed to be for free speech. Like, no, they shouldn't be attacked for what they did and what cartoon of Muhammad on the cover of their magazine. But I just think it was just stupid. I don't know. And so you wanted to interject?
Yes, as I try to plug my computer in and mute the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, I think the part that pisses me off the most is the fact that people are blowing this out of proportion to where, here in America, we're like, oh, there's going to be all these terrorist attacks now. They're going to attack us. They're going to do the same thing. Folks, this was a targeted terrorist attack. Now, what I mean by targeted terrorist attack is just like Chris said, these guys were portraying Muhammad in a cartoon. That's a big no-no. And jihadists out there that, really aren't part of the Muslim religion, as a lot more Muslims are coming out and saying, they take it seriously and they go, well, fuck this, we're going to kill you. So, for me, it's like, again, you've seen this happen before. This is going to piss off terrorists. Why would you do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like...
I'm for free speech. I'm just also for common sense.
Right, yeah. I mean, that these terrorists are going to do it. Look, we're in fucking America. Okay? We're talking about freedom of speech here. We're in fucking America, and not anybody here is stupid enough to make a cartoon that betrays Muhammad. Why is that? Because we don't want any terrorist attacks. Yeah. I mean, I'm not... Look, I feel bad for the families that were involved. And yeah, these fucking terrorists, they got what they deserved. 3 of them got killed. The other girl is probably out there fucking a bunch of guys and trying to hide herself. So, that whore will get what she deserves soon. Yeah, I'm kind of harsh, aren't I? But anyway, it's just, to me, it's like, have some common sense.
Yeah.
Have some common sense. I understand that, there's this freedom of speech. And again, I don't know what France, their whole freedom of speech is, but... I would be turning to, if I was a newspaper anywhere in the world right now, I'd be turning to them and be like, let's not be portraying Muhammad anytime soon, because this is just, it's...
Yeah, and I just don't like the slogan, like it's Je suis Charlie, like, and it's funny because that roughly translates to I am Charlie, which reminds me of
right.
I am Groot, which it's just like no, we, and it kills me because I know I have a lot of artists on my Facebook feed and stuff like that, and I know they're trying to be supportive, and it's just like, but would you, if you saw a person, like if you had like a little brother or something like that, and he's on you're on a playground or whatever, and your little brother is like egging on the biggest guy or the most violent guy in the schoolyard. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, technically, I guess you want to be by his side, but it's also like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Right. I mean, again, you're basically putting all of your people in a position to basically, I mean, I don't want to say get shot, but I mean, you know that this is going to piss off a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it just baffles my mind in this day and age how somebody could be stupid enough to portray Muhammad in a goddamn cartoon and expect nothing to happen. It's just like, that just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, can you guys get your shit together and figure out that you shouldn't have done this? Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah, and mind you, like, they've done tons of fucking covers where like they're goofing on the Pope, but it's just, you're not expecting, there are no Catholic extremists. They're gonna, or at least, well, even if they are like conservative, even if they are like really, no one's gonna come and, a Catholic extremist isn't gonna come and blow up your fucking office. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, what is religion supposed to say is, turn the other cheek and, whatever. But, and I know this was, and, the big debate is like, oh, well, not all Muslims are like it. Well, you know what? The loudest ones that are getting all the attention are the ones,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's like, I would be like, okay, I'm Puerto Rican or whatever. And a lot of people like tell me, oh, you don't look Puerto Rican. But, what people mostly know of Puerto Ricans come from the louder Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The kind of Puerto Ricans that blast salsa music and I don't know, have, go to barbecues and have food that's like, that you could smell from across the street or something like that. I don't wear tight pants and pointy shoes. Saying I don't walk around with a basketball jersey that looks like it's cut out of the American flag. I mean a Puerto Rican flag. Saying like you don't represent everybody, and you can't just, I don't know. I lost my train of thought on the whole thing, but
Well, I mean, I think we've kind of just basically said it all. But I mean, for me, it's to the point where, look, I understand that you guys want to, how do I put this? Like, I understand that you guys, I understand that it pisses off people, and yeah, it shouldn't be done, but it also shouldn't result in people getting killed either, but we have to use common sense, like, don't just, how do I put this? Don't just, let's just start shooting up people or whatever. And it's just like, because you portrayed my God or my religious figure in the wrong manner, let's have a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, stop the bullshit, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. So I guess, our last episode, we were talking about, the whole, NYPD and the stuff that's going on. And let me tell you, I never realized how many of my friends are like, and these are people that I grew up with, are so fucking like and I always considered myself left. I'm very left of center, but just fucking bleeding heart, bullshit. And I guess, this will prove if they listen to the podcast or not, because, obviously, anyone who's listened to the past episode, I am very pro cop. And it really doesn't.
No, you're not pro cop. No, it's not all over your Facebook. No.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, I mean, obviously I'm very pro cop and now mind you, I have friends and family that are cops, and none of them have said anything good about de Blasio. Saying it's like when I make these pro cop posts, none of my cop friends are the ones saying, no, you're wrong, or no, but friends of mine who, and I want to say this without being rude, don't have the balls to fucking be in law enforcement, are the ones that, are saying, oh no, you're wrong, and de Blasio is right. And, like, if you wear a uniform, if you go out there and you work the fucking streets and you patrol the streets, your opinion would definitely change. It's very easy when you live like an isolated life, and like I said, and this is what kills me, is that these are guys who I grew up with. I mean, we came from an area.
I was seeing on your Facebook. Yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, these are friends of mine that we all came from a bad area. Now that being said, I mean, I have people that I grew up with. I know people that I grew up with that were in jail. No, my closest inner circle of friends, friends that I've called friends since I was fucking 12 or 13 years old. I mean, we're good people. You know what I'm saying? Like my friends, we came from the poorest fucking, neighborhoods and downtown Manhattan, and everybody, like I said, the people that I still continue to call friends have turned out to be good, decent people. That being said, you also got to have fucking common sense. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I don't, like, the people that I consider friends are, I don't have friends that I don't have convicted felon friends, I guess would be the best way to put it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have like this really weird, like, left leaning bleeding heart bullshit. Why is it why is it if you're not in law enforcement you don't seem to get it now? And the reason I brought that up is because I came across this great video, and I want to say it's Fox. I want to say it's Fox. It's Fox News, but I mean it's not Fox News as in Fox the cable channel. It's a Fox affiliate, and I believe it's in Phoenix. I want to say it's Fox 10. I have to look it up real quick on my Facebook page. But what had happened was they took a guy that was a protester. They took a guy that, that was, anti-cop, all the shit. And these police officers took him and they said, okay, we're going to have you come to our training exercise. And you're given a live, not a live gun. You're given something that, has the weight. It looks like a Glock, basically. And a Glock is, a plastic gun, and Glocks are actually very lightweight. And it almost feels like you're holding a toy, even though it's not. It's clearly a violent weapon. And they put him in scenarios. Now, the Glock shoots some sort of round. So everyone in the scenario is wearing helmets and protective gear and stuff like that. But so they have him in one scenario where it looks like someone's just like looking into cars, like it looks like they're looking into cars like they're trying to steal something. And so the guy comes up on a situation, and trying to talk to a guy, and of course the guy kind of backs away, and boom, the guy, this guy who's the activist or whatever, he gets killed in that scenario. The cop that's portraying a crook pulls out a gun and just fucking blows him right away. You know what I'm saying? Right when he goes to hide, like when he goes to hide behind the car, he uses that moment to grab the gun. And then as soon as the guy comes forward to look, kind of see what's going on, boom, gets fucking, gets 16 shots put in him. So then they have two more scenarios where, you see like it looks like two guys are fighting. And then when the guy comes up on the scene, one of the guys that wasn't a fight, rushes the person that's taking the test. And of course, one of his instincts is he goes and he pulls a gun and he shoots him. He shoots, the cop. That being said, it's when you look at the scenario, the guy was unarmed. It was the police officer himself, the guy that's acting out. He is a big muscular dude. Don't get me wrong, but you see the guy, the activist pulls out his gun. So let's all cry, "Oh, you shot an unarmed man," because the guy was rushing towards him. So, I think a lot of people need to fucking, I wish there was a way they can do this, with hundreds of people in a row. You know what I'm saying? Like all these people, basically my long story short is that, the people who criticize the cops are people who don't have the balls to do the job, because if you did do the job, you would understand how hard it is. You would understand that, oh my God, I'm actually dealing with dangerous, violent, unreasonable people in the street. And maybe you wouldn't be so fucking critical of how they do their job.
Right.
So, like I said, I wish my friends, and what kills me is that, other childhood friends of mine are cops. And my friends and I have, friends whose, husbands and wives are cops, brothers and sisters are cops. Like, my brother's a cop. It blows my mind that my childhood friends could even, and I have to respect their opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying what they can't say, but it's like, I post something pro cop, anti-Mayor de Blasio, and like, every post I make, they kind of dig into me. And I'm like, where did we not grow up in the same fucking neighborhood?
Right. Well, I mean, I think they're trying to be, I think they're trying to, what's the best word for it? Defend their city, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. I mean, to me, like, I'm going to defend Rochester if people are putting down Rochester, but for me, it's like, what do I say? Like, it's, it's kind of stupid at this point when a guy has been on video, when he's been recorded saying that, basically I support the protesters and blah, 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 and then turns around and tries to be like, oh, well, no, I support the blah, 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 blah. It's just like, make up your mind.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have it both ways. That's my problem. Like, I understand, what the hell. I understand what's going on, but it's just like,
Yeah. And I just like how the cops have slowed down their enforcement so much, and they're not giving out tickets to the point where the city was used to, and it just blows my mind, where the city was used to getting $10 million a week on summonses. The cops have slowed down so much. And I mean, of course, when you do the math and you realize there's 37,000 uniformed NYPD officers. I mean, it's not that stretch of the imagination that if they all start slowing down, it's costing New York City $10 million a week in revenue that they could be getting from traffic tickets. You know what I'm saying? So eventually the mayor's either going to have to apologize, or the people are going to get so fucking pissed off that, they're going to realize.
Well, he has basically apologized. Well, I don't know if he has really apologized, so to speak, but he's, come out more like, I do support the police officers, blah, 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 blah. But I honestly do think that he should just sit there and be like, look, we need to mend bridges, okay? I said something. I shouldn't have said it in that context. It's my fault. I take a responsibility. Let's come back together. Let's do what we need to do to keep the streets safe. And let's, do this the right way. Because, it's going to come to a point where these cops are just going to be like, no, like, we're going to take things into our own hands. We're going to do things the way that we believe that we need to do things. And, it's not going to work out well for anybody.
Yeah, well, because like people in my Facebook feed, they're like, and they started posting this video from Bill Maher, and Bill Maher was kind of like saying like, the cops are acting like a spurned girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to constantly tell them that you love them and shit like that. And okay, first, Bill Maher needs to shut his mouth because, he's like an advocate of like smoking weed and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure he's gotten out of a lot of fucking, I'm pretty sure, I will put money on it that he's probably gotten out of things because he's a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure cops have let him go. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised. Drunk driving. I mean, everybody kind of breaks the law a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But especially, a guy like him, I would love to see how, after now he's kind of like talking shit against the cops. I would love to see his next, his next run-in with the law and see how it happens, how it pans out. See if his celebrity gets him out of the trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a fucking real left-wing actor or whatever, just shut your fucking mouth. So I don't know. All right, let's move on. Bill Cosby played in Canada. Bill Cosby had dates, and I believe he's supposed to be playing like in Buffalo come in April. So I wonder if he's gonna make it to those dates.
No, I think he'll make it to those dates. I just think that my thing is, okay, we're talking about Bill Cosby here, right? Mm-hmm. Well, actually, maybe we should go to commercial real quick.
We got like 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, this is another thing I actually wanted to talk about because his former co-star that played his wife,
Rashad, yeah.
Yes, came out and said, look, I was with this guy for several years on these shows, and I've never seen him do anything wrong, nor have I seen him do anything to anybody. He's been the nicest man, blah, 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 blah. It's ridiculous what these charges are. So, right there, this should be the end of it. It should be the end of it. But no. There's, what is it? I think it's 3 or 4 women. No, maybe it's 5 that are doing a defamation suit, which I guess I'm confused at how it could be a defamation suit when the man hasn't really said anything.
Yeah, well, no, because I think there were stories about that he was hiring detectives, that he had hired detectives to dig up dirt on all the women that were making accusations against him. And now, I mean, my thing is that, I'm glad that...
Oh, wait. It was, I'm sorry. It was his staffers or something. I'm like, why don't you... Is that him saying it? No, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah. But like... I mean, I'm glad Felicia Rashad kind of spoke up about it because she was like, my thing was like, here's someone, because remember, she did 2 TV shows with him. He had another show after the Cosby Show. I forgot if it was just called Cosby or something like that, and she played his wife again. But my thing is that you have to, she's got to be a little biased, only because if it wasn't for him, he's given her steady work for like 20 years, or whatever, whatever, 10, 15 years, whatever. And she's probably made so much money that she probably doesn't necessarily have to work for the rest of her life. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure she could live very decent for the rest of her life for the money that she's made on the Cosby Show and the show that she did after that with him. Right. So, I'm just saying is that, because one, I couldn't stand her character. She was very, very bougie. But I get where she comes from, where she's saying, and who knows, maybe she didn't. Maybe she didn't see it. I doubt a guy that's going to be allegedly drugging women, is going to do it in the presence of another woman. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm glad she kind of spoke up about it, because I was kind of wondering where she was going to come out about it. But, like I said, I think she's a little biased. Okay. Did you see, people were posting, I guess Paul McCartney did a song with Kanye West, and all these young kids who have no idea who Paul McCartney is.
Oh yeah, that was silly.
They were like, this Paul McCartney guy is going to have a career now that Kanye West had him in a song. And let me tell you, I haven't heard the whole song. I've only heard a little bit. It's not even Paul McCartney's not even singing on it. He's playing the piano on the song. So it's not even like, I guess it's one of those songs. I think it's like, Kanye West featuring Paul McCartney, and it's the same thing, like Paul McCartney did a song on for the video game Destiny, and he basically said the only reason I did a song for the video game is because I want to be cool to my grandkids. So I'm pretty sure this is the same, in that same vein, where he did a song with Kanye West because his grandkids know who Kanye West is, and they probably, if it wasn't for their grandfather being in the Beatles, they probably wouldn't know anything about the music. So it's so funny how like kids are like, oh, Paul McCartney, and don't get me wrong, my generation. When I grew up, it was, after the heyday of the Beatles, and, John Lennon was already shot and killed. But, I grew up with Paul McCartney doing a song with Michael Jackson.
God, you're old.
Yeah. What I'm just saying is that, Michael Jackson, they had a song called The Girl Is Mine. And so that's how it's, so of course I was too young to have that opinion, like, oh, Michael Jackson's giving this guy a career. But, whatchamacallit, I just thought it was funny that, these knucklehead kids, and like I said, I'm not a big fan of Kanye West music, obviously. So, if your taste is in Kanye West, you probably don't like the Beatles anyway, so you're not gonna have any idea who the fuck Kanye West is. Did you hear? I'm only bringing it up because it just came up on TV that Rochester is going to have like a surprise concert. It's to promote the Super Bowl, and I guess we're not on that list of like, we could say Super Bowl without having to get sued or anything like that. And it's a promotion for Pepsi and Katy Perry.
Is it that they won like actually won tickets? Yeah,
it's like the most hyped. Because it's one thing. Like I guess a bunch of people that are getting tickets to go see Katy Perry perform at the Super Bowl are from Rochester. But I guess like Pepsi.
No. What it is a bunch of people. What they basically did is they kept posting pictures on Instagram about. It was some kind of contest involving Pepsi. And
it was you holding a Pepsi, and different people around Rochester holding Pepsis and stuff like that. And also for Pepsi to say thank you, they're having some sort of like surprise concert. They haven't right now, as of Sunday night when we're recording this, they haven't announced who who's going to do the surprise concert. But I believe I want to say it's next Sunday, where it's going to be they're going to have a surprise concert. All these rumors are saying it's going to be some country guy that I don't know or care about.
That's funny. Oh, don't get me die, please.
from what I understand, it's going to be I think it's a free concert also. So, but then again, this poor country guy, you got to come up to fucking Rochester and perform in fucking 12-degree weather. This poor fucking dude, whoever.
Yeah,
it
but
is.
he's probably getting paid a lot of money too.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking, it's Super Bowl money. So, okay. So with that, we'll be right back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, so Paul, have you seen Agent Carter?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I wanted to like it. You know what I'm saying? Marvel, continues to give us good movies. The TV shows are just, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I want to like it, and this is sort of a spinoff of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's Agent Carter. It's supposed, it's Captain America's girlfriend from the first movie. How she's like, and it's supposed to be S.H.I.E.L.D., but they don't call it S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's the same actor, right?
It's the same actress, and actually the whole because this first week was it's technically 2 episodes in a row, but if it's 2 hours, it's basically a movie,
right?
And I think there's 6 more weeks after this of episodes. It's a miniseries, and I'm kind of glad it's a miniseries, and I wanted to like it. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll have like this whole cool universe, but it's, it's back in like, the 50s and, and like, the big thing that they drove into the ground is that like, women weren't treated the same way as men. Like, like she's trying to be like this tough girl and like, they're like, oh no, go answer the phones, and there is one part where like they're basically beating a witness to get him to confess or whatever. And, they're like, oh, maybe you should turn away or whatever. But, when you realize that she's actually seen a hell of a lot worse than some guy just beating the shit out of a witness. Like I said, I mean, I'm hoping it's going to get better, but I was not impressed by this first 2 weeks. As like, it was supposed to be Alias meets Mad Men. That's kind of like the way I saw it as. And it wasn't. It was, it was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. meets Manhattan. I don't know if you ever seen Manhattan on the WGN network. It's basically poor man's cable.
I've heard some things about it.
It's poor man's cable.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which here in Rochester is Channel 3. And it's a decent network. And actually the show itself isn't that bad, but it's obviously a low budget show trying to take, that Manhattan takes place in the 40s, the early 40s. But, like I said, I wanted to like it. So, I mean, hopefully it'll get better. Maybe it will. The Ant-Man trailer you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Well, if anybody out there hasn't seen it, you should see it. It's actually a decent trailer. First of all, I love Michael Douglas. Any movie with Michael Douglas in it automatically has my attention.
Yeah. I love the game. The game and what's the other one he did? I mean, he's done a whole bunch of movies.
Yeah.
But, go on.
But my problem with the trailer is it didn't really reveal anything. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want a trailer to reveal the whole movie to me, but for me, like, I need to know exactly what this movie's about. Yes, okay, fine. We see that, obviously, we see him in the suit. We see the guy. We see Paul Rudd in the suit. We see him shrink down to size. We see him even ride some kind of bug, some fly or whatever.
No, it's a flying ant.
Yeah, so a flying ant, we'll say it, whatever. Great, wonderful, awesome. But it's like, okay, so what is Ant-Man doing? What is the plot of this series? You know, like, usually when I see like an Avengers thing, I get the idea of something. Mm-hmm. This one, I'm kind of like, okay, is this movie so terrible that you can't even give me like a fucking synopsis in the trailer?
Well, in all fairness, I think this is it's not a trailer, it's a teaser. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I mean, not if you want to split hairs. I think this is more of a teaser. It's sort of just like, it's giving us an idea, okay, this is what it looks like. Here are the sets. Here, you know, there's like a scene where, like, you know, Paul Rudd's being walked out of jail. Like, you know, he's did some time, and, you know.
Right.
Well, I mean, so I'm assuming he's walking out of jail, but from what I've read online and stuff like that, it's definitely him getting out of jail. You know, so obviously, you know, here's, you know, it's a guy with some sort of past. Now, just, you know, to add on to what you're saying, now, had I watched the trailer all by itself, now, you know, of course, I always try to pride myself on being like the comic book guy. Obviously, I'm not an Ant-Man fan, but a lot of my friends are, and people that I know, and that, you know, like videos that I watch online and stuff like that, you know, there are people who are a hell of a lot more versed than me. And if I was watching that trailer by myself without like any kind of like other input from other people, I don't want to, disappoint is not the right word. I would just be kind of like blah also. But like, from what I'm getting, and obviously these people are biased, these people are fans, you know, it's just giving us just a little taste of what's going to happen. And actually, I think once we get a proper trailer, which, I mean, we're definitely going to get one between now and Age of Ultron, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, if not, I mean, definitely before Age of Ultron, but I mean, if not by Age of Ultron, you know, by the time we get to Age of Ultron, we'll probably be on the second or third trailer. You know, I think the real legitimate trailer, like I said, this was just a teaser. I think that next one is going to make us all fucking jizz in our pants.
Hopefully.
You know, and it's got Evangeline Lilly, who was Kate from Lost.
I was going to say, you have vaginal problems?
You know, of course, Michael Douglas. You know, Michael Douglas is the fucking man. Paul Rudd, who, you know, I'm not the super biggest fan of, because, you know, he's always been kind of like a wishy-washy character, even though he's been in some good movies. But then again, I mean, he was also in fucking Romeo plus Juliet, you know, the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet. You know, he was in fucking Clueless, for Christ's sake. But then again, he was also in, you know, 40-Year-Old Virgin, and This Is 40. And, you know, he was in a bunch of, you know, goofy guy movies also. He was in a bunch of dick and fart movies also. So, you know, I wasn't super thrilled when they announced him, but, you know, hopefully, you know, he'll win us over. You know, he'll kind of get back to that male demographic that, you know, kind of, you know, that got to know him in like 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up and This Is 40. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. Like I said, we just haven't seen the proper Ant-Man trailer yet. Daredevil. This week they kind of released a Daredevil, and this one is obviously a super duper teaser, because it's not even a trailer. It's just a picture of Manhattan. And friends of mine on Facebook will know that I dissected this fucking picture because the neighborhood of Hell's Kitchen is the west side of Manhattan, kind of starting from like 34th Street up. And when you're, you know, the Empire State Building is on 34th Street. But the way you're looking at it, you see like the Empire State Building and what is supposed to be the Freedom Tower in the background. But then you look to the right of the poster and there's like bridges. Okay, well, if you're north of the Empire State Building and you're looking south, and the bridges aren't going to be to your right, the bridges are all to your left, you know, to the west side of Manhattan. And I'm really fucking splitting hairs here. You know, the west side of Manhattan has tunnels, and you won't see a bridge until you get all the way up north to the George Washington Bridge. So obviously this was a picture south of Manhattan pointed north, but then they superimposed the the Freedom Tower somewhere in the background to make it look like Southern Manhattan when it's not. And it just bothers me. And so that means the neighborhood where you see the two giant, the double D, the Daredevil logo, kind of like, it looks like the city streets, but like, the shape of the D, of the two Ds kind of look like emblazoned in red. It's not the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood, because Daredevil originally patrols the the Hell's Kitchen area of Manhattan. But once again, I'm being really fucking nerdy and
Yes,
asshole
you are.
about it.
Actually, while we're talking about superheroes, and this is nothing confirmed, so please do not take this as confirmed or anything like that, but there was an article I read recently and this wasn't actually on comingsoon.net, so it's nothing official. Mm-hmm. But there's a rumor out there that apparently this Batman versus Superman movie is going to be 2 parts.
Yeah.
And one part actually may show up at the end of this year, in October. Now, what I find really interesting about this is, first of all, I've been in the movie theater business, okay? So I can tell you guys that putting a Marvel movie, even something as big as Batman versus Superman, you will never see that movie in the middle of October, okay? And the reason for that is because kids are not off of school, okay?
Yeah.
And you want to get the biggest audience and the most amount of money you can for a big franchise film like this. So for me, hearing this, I think it's kind of like a bullshit rumor at this point, and I don't think that anybody should take anything out of this. Now, if we start hearing that it's going to be at the end of the summertime or even sometime in November, specifically more around like Thanksgiving time, or even in December when Star Wars is supposed to come out around Christmas time, that's when you should start taking this rumor maybe a little bit more serious, because October doesn't make sense. And I'm gonna tell you right now,
November, if you get like right before Thanksgiving, because then it gives it its time to make its money before fucking Star Wars blows everything away.
Look at Hunger Games. Hunger Games came out just before Thanksgiving, and it's still in theaters, still in the big theaters right now. So it's just like, it really works that way to have it come out just before Thanksgiving. But the point I'm trying to make is if they do really try to bring this out in October, I think DC is losing their minds, and they need to fucking reevaluate what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I know they definitely have a lot of stuff filmed, because there was like this time last year there was fucking like on the set, like people were like kind of sneaking like shots that they were filming at some sort of like football game.
I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't care like if you want to make this movie 2 parts. My point about this Batman versus Superman movie, or as it's named, Batman v Superman, all I'm concerned about is do it right, okay? From what I've heard, Ben Affleck has done a very good job as Batman, so I'm not too worried right now. I would like to see a trailer first, and again, there's another point, too. If you're going to bring out Batman vs. Superman Part 1, where's the trailer? I know this is January right now, but typically, like even Star Wars had a trailer, what was it, back in November, December?
Yeah.
So where's your trailer? If you're so...
Yeah, I'm scared it's
I'm
rushing
really scared
it, and it pushed it back, they moved it forward. Those are fucking giant red flags that it's I mean, please surprise me. Please, DC, pull one out of your ass. And
right. Well, what I think what's going on, Chris, is, and it said in the article, and I agree with it, is that they're concerned about Avengers doing really well and just literally like taking it away from Batman versus Superman. But what they don't seem to understand is people have been waiting for Batman versus Superman for so fucking long. It's not even funny. So for them to just like try to move this up, if that is true, and to even split this in half, it's just like, look, take your time. If you have that much footage and you need to split it in half, nobody's gonna get pissed at you.
I mean, just the fact that they're fucking introducing so many fucking people,
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest worries here is, okay, so we're gonna introduce like 50 different characters.
Yeah, they may have to split it in 2 just so it kind of fucking, so it doesn't like, you don't hit people over the head with, okay, here's this guy, okay, here's Aquaman, here's Wonder Woman, here's Cyborg.
Well, I mean, think about it this way: you got let's see. If I remember correctly, Avengers comes out. Avengers 2 comes out this summer.
Mhm.
So does Fantastic Four. So does Ant-Man. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing here. I believe Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2. I think it actually is in summertime, but it should be in November because it would do a lot better if it was in November. But it might be summertime too. There's the new Terminator movie that's supposed to be coming out in summertime.
Yeah, Mockingjay is November.
Okay, awesome. I'm trying to think what else. What else am I thinking? Well, Star Wars comes out in December. It's a big year for movies, by the way. This is a very big year, and I think it's going to definitely regenerate the movie industry this year. By the way, I don't think any movie studios, after what happened with the internet, I don't think they're going to be, trying to do any digital distribution anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think DC feels like they're left out,
Yeah.
but they have to understand they set themselves up for this. Okay, they did this to themselves. It's nobody else. They did it themselves. So they only have themselves to blame for what's going on right now. Okay, don't rush this movie. Keep it in 2016. Okay, I know there is this fear of, I believe Civil War is supposed to be out in 2016, isn't it? Or is it 2017?
Well, so yeah, the Captain America 3, correct?
Yeah, it's 2007. It's 2016, right?
Yeah, it's 2016.
I think there's a fear that with Spider-Man being introduced into this, which we'll know at the end of this month if he's going to be introduced into Civil War, which I hope that he is. I think that's going to add another, how do I put this, another thorn in DC's side.
Yeah, another nail in the coffin.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because here's the thing. Like I was telling Kelsey the other day, Spider-Man. The reason why Spider-Man is such this big deal, if you think about it, Spider-Man has been in. Please excuse me if I missed something. He's been in the Fantastic Four. He's been a part of the Avengers. There's even a spin-off of the Avengers, kind of, so to speak, with him, Iron Man, and the Hulk. And I'm sure I'm missing some other team up too. I think he wasn't. I don't think he was part of the X-Men, but I know he's had several team ups where he's teamed up with the X-Men before.
Yeah. I mean, all the comic books, everyone crosses over with somebody at some point.
Right.
You know?
So, I mean, for me, I see this as a very positive thing. One thing I'd like to see before Hugh Jackman gives up Wolverine is I would love to fucking see him in one of the Avengers movies as Wolverine. I just Fox needs to get off their asses and stop playing with themselves and be like, look, and I do think Spider-Man. I do think Fox. Cause I think Fox is the only other company besides Sony that really owns franchises from the Marvel universe. I think they're going to be keeping an eye on this too, because there was a rumor that they were going to be selling off all the X-Men characters and whatever else they had to Marvel, in another year or two. I heard that rumor. I don't know if that was ever true, but I think this is going to be This is definitely going to be something to watch, because definitely, I think Fox should definitely follow in Sony's footsteps, so to speak, and just be like, look, let's do some major team-ups, like X-Men versus the Avengers. I think that was a comic at one point.
Yeah.
What else was there? Wolverine was part of the Avengers.
I mean, shit, if you did a Wolverine Spider-Man movie, I think that alone would fucking...
Dude, have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, have, somewhat of a younger Spider-Man that, is kind of learning his ways around and learning from Wolverine. Because Wolverine is fucking old.
I'm just saying is that, they're both fan
favorites.
favorites.
You know what I was... Sorry to cut you off there, but one of the things that really, I went, oh shit, this has got to definitely happen. Captain America and Wolverine. Because back in, I believe it was World War II, I want to say. When Captain America... I think Captain...
They fought side by side, or they
Yeah,
fought...
it was World War II, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically they fought side by side in the battlefield. So for me, I would love to see Captain America and Wolverine team up and just destroy a fucking landscape of bad guys. Because again, I just want to see that dynamic. I understand, and it seems like Hugh Jackman is all for continuing Spider-Man and continuing Wolverine as long as he possibly can. And I'm very happy about that. Now we look at what happened with Batman. We don't often see somebody continuing with a character as long as Hugh Jackman has. So
yeah.
I just really hope that we can see that dynamic happen. There's just so many possibilities that are coming up now that, hopefully Sony has released Spider-Man in the way that they have, and it should just be really interesting to see. I just hope, Sony needs to do a good job with Venom. That's all I ask. I've been waiting for a Venom movie as long as I was waiting for an Iron Man movie, and, I just hope that they do a very good job on it, and they just destroy. They just absolutely make Venom like this.
Well, I mean, ever since me and my friends, I mean, this is, back way before, these movies became the big thing,
back in the 70s?
Well, no, I'm talking about the early 90s, and, we would get, and I'm kind of quoting, even like Kevin Smith spoke about it, Wizard Magazine, which was, the magazine that kind of was all about the comic book industry. They used to have a monthly article where they would say, what if they made a movie based on such and such comic book? What actors would probably be best for such and such roles? And, of course, me and my friends, we've always played that game. Who would be good for Cyclops? Who would be good for Professor X? Who would be good for Wolverine? And, I think especially once I saw Terminator 2 and I saw the liquid metal Terminator, and of course, I mean, that they've definitely perfected that technology. Once you have that kind of, living mass that looks like an engulfing a body. I mean, unfortunately, okay, Spider-Man 3, they've kind of botched it. But I mean, even the way it kind of looked in Spider-Man 3, which they're not going to use that again. But I did kind of like how they made it cool where it looked like it was kind of like little tentacles almost, or little claws kind of reaching up the body. I do have to admit that was cool. It's different. It wasn't the way I remember it in the comic books, but they kind of, they tried it. But now that they did that, I mean, if all they would have to do is just take that liquid metal style of animation and just make it black, and oily and greasy and shit, and then just have that, crawl up somebody's skin and stuff like that, engulf their body,
I think for me, since we're talking about Spider-Man 3, if you're gonna go with how you're gonna do Venom, first of all, the way that the suit was, the Spider-Man suit was, I love that. I love how they just made it all black, because it made more sense to me. Mm-hmm. The way that they had him in the comic book, he looked like a fucking alien. I'm like, look, I understand. Look, I get what you're trying to do here, but why not just have the symbiote absorb into the suit? It's just a black suit, and basically that's how it is. And I thought that was awesome. But my problem with that, and I think they should have kept this, they should have stayed true to this, so to speak, is the fact that Peter Parker was able to take off this suit. And to me, if this is really a symbiote, you're taking away from what it's actually being. So, okay, Peter Parker's a different person, but he's able to take off the suit, so wouldn't that take away from what he was being like? Yeah, so why not have it like in the comic book, where the suit is basically on him, it just disappears, and it changes. It's like a chameleon. The clothes change. You know what I mean? And it made more sense that way, and I think they should have kept that true. The way that Venom actually looked like,
that was the look was that was horrible, but
actual Venom, I mean.
But I'm just saying is, I give credit, the way it moved was different, but it was cool. Like you said, when it was the black Spider-Man outfit, that looked fucking awesome.
Right,
I agree with you there. but just once they got to the actual fucking design.
Right. I mean, there was so many problems with it, and you can definitely tell that this wasn't the director's fault, because from based on the first two films, they were done correctly. They were done in a way that was awesome. And by the way, that's the one thing that really pisses me off about this whole how Marvel's going to disregard all the movies. Spider-Man 2 in the first trilogy was the best rated movie that year. So let me get this straight. You're going to disregard a movie that was the best rated movie of that year, made so much fucking money for not only Sony but you guys, and probably if we had the same system as we do now for being categorized, probably would have been nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, but I mean, just playing devil's advocate, that was 3 movies ago.
No. I understand that, and Amazing Spider-Man fucked up everything. For me, had Sony continued in the direction that they were going, had Sam Raimi continue as the director, had Tobey Maguire continue as Spider-Man, I don't think we would be having this conversation. And I don't even think that Marvel would be able to get their hands on Spider-Man in this situation. Though, I would like them to get their hands on their situation still and be able to have Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, because I thought he portrayed Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the correct way. You know, when I think of Spider-Man, no offense to Andrew Garfield, but I don't think of a British guy. I'm sorry. Yeah. You know, that part always annoyed me. I understand, this is the guy you chose, and great, whatever, but you chose wrong. You did the wrong thing, and now it's biting you in the ass. If I was Sam Raimi, I'd be sitting at home going, yeah, fuck. I'd be sitting there counting my money and be like, yeah, fuckers, yeah, you fucked up really big time. By the way, thanks for paying me for 4 and 5, because they probably had to. They probably paid him and Toby for 4 and 5 because it probably was in their contract. Yeah. So, I just hope that Sony learns from their lessons when it comes to Spider-Man. At the end of this month, we get the announcement that we all been waiting for. And the next Spider-Man that's chosen, let's just not have somebody British. It's got to be American. He's got to be somebody that looks like Peter Parker in the comic books. And, there's these things about we need to have him, he needs to be young, or, he needs to be this young Peter Parker. No, fuck that. I want somebody that's in between being young and being, 25. I want somebody that's in between there. That's basically what Peter Parker is. That's what basically Spider-Man and Peter Parker is, the way that we perceive him. We perceive him as probably around the medium age of 18 to 20. And, he's not new at being Spider-Man, but he's also continuing to learn as he is meeting these other superheroes out there as well. And I think that's the best way to go about Spider-Man, not being like, oh, Teen Spider-Man, fuck that shit. Look at what you just did with Amazing Spider-Man. It didn't work. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think the last story we should touch upon would be the Matthew Vaughn. A couple days ago, Matthew Vaughn said,
"You can lick my dick, motherfucker."
Shit. People want fun and escapism at the moment. Look at the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Nolan kickstarted a very dark, bleak style superhero escapism, and I think people have had enough of it. And I mind you, okay, let's just, give the man his credit. He directed X-Men First Class. He directed Kick-Ass. He's soon to release this other movie called Kingsman: The Secret Service, which is basically another comic written by Mark Millar, Mark Millar wrote Kick-Ass. But my thing is that, don't be wrong, part of me agrees with him, but the other part of it is this is the case by case scenario.
Exactly, I was going to say that.
You can't just say, oh, the movie can't be dark and brooding.
No.
Because if it's done well, yeah, let it be dark and brooding. Am I in the mood for a more lighthearted movie? Yeah, possibly. But but not so lighthearted to the point where it's all fucking kiddie and stupid. Well, if gritty's done right, it's done right.
I think, speaking from a case-to-case basis, Batman in the past, and this has been proven, and you'll agree with me, if you go too light on Batman, it doesn't work. Yeah. If you go dark, but not too dark, it works. And I think Nolan basically, did the right thing in that regard and was able to portray Batman in the way he should have been portrayed. Because basically, from what I heard, they used Book 1, Book 2, Book 3. They used the earlier Batman novels to do this. And they did it correctly. Look at Heath Ledger's portrayal of Joker. It was so intense and so right on the money of what the Joker really is that he died because of it. He couldn't handle what he did. He went so deep into this role that it caused his death. And rightly so, he deserved the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor because this Nolan did it right. Nolan did what Batman was supposed to be right. I can't really agree on what he did with the third one and kind of killing off Batman in a sense, but not killing Batman off in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I really agree with that because it opens a lot of doors and it creates a lot of Pandora instances, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But I also think that the way that Nolan did, at least the first two, he did it correctly. And I think that if you're going to do Batman, you need to do it in a dark way. I'm not saying like there should be blood everywhere and Batman's like slicing people's heads off or like the Joker is like mutilating people. Like I'm not saying go that dark, but the way that Nolan did it, you have to do that with Batman in my opinion, Superman, I mean, Superman's kind of hard in that regard. Like, and I think you'll agree with me, like you can't really go dark with Superman, but you also don't want to be light with Superman, especially when you first introduce him, because you don't want to be like, okay, well, Superman, like I guess the animated series is the best way to portray Batman. Is the best way that I could say, like, going too light with Superman, because you never saw him in a negative context, and you could never see the dark side of Superman in the way that it should have been. Whereas in, like, for example, this last one, and I didn't really see the last one, but I saw bits and pieces of it to see where they went with it. And I could, I think Superman to me, I mean, those movies were made back in the 80s, I believe, right? The first ones.
Superman? Yeah, I think Superman, the first one was 78. Well, technically the first one was 78, and then
78.
And I think the next one was like 80, I want to say.
I would say like in regards to those Superman movies, and again, we didn't have the technology that we did today. I think in that regard, that's how I think Superman should be done. Because it was a good mix of dark and light. At least the first two Superman movies. And maybe you can disagree with me here, but I think
the two good ones.
Right, yeah, like those were the two good ones. And I think like that was the best mix of how Superman was how to portray Superman, but not portray him in such a like, oh my god, I love Superman, such a great person, kind of thing. And I know a lot of people don't like this, and we talked about this off the podcast of, Superman Returns. I think Superman Returns, even though I think some of the characters that were chosen to play certain characters shouldn't have been chosen, I think that also, along with 1 and 2, which, Superman Returns was supposed to be after Superman 2, if nobody knew about that, but I think that was also, a good movie portraying Superman, and it was a good character, and it was a good character selection, might I add, too. Don't get me wrong. The guy that plays Superman, they made him into Superman. He looks like Superman. Okay, great. But Brandon Roth was the closest thing I've seen to God, I can't think of his name right now. Christopher Reeve. Than any other character. Well, yeah, and than really anybody else. I mean, obviously, God, I can't think of his name. That played Small.
Oh,
no, the guy.
Shit.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of him. Tom Welling.
Okay.
Tom Welling, the guy that played Superman in Smallville. He was good too, and I would have taken him as Superman as well. But besides those two, like Henry Cavill, I'm like, I understand that Superman Returns didn't do well, but you could have still used that guy as Superman. I think he would have done really well. And I think had you taken that energy of Superman Returns, or even Superman 1 and 2, the originals, and use that as your centerpiece for Superman, I think it would have turned out a lot better than what this Superman turned out to be, because I think they pushed it a little too far to where he was dark. I mean, I like the fact that he killed somebody, that he snapped that guy's neck, he snapped Zod's neck. I do like that, but I think it kind of pushed him a little too far. So now you kind of have to portray Superman as this dark character now, which is, from the sounds of it, is what they're doing. And you have to bring him back into this mix of light and dark kind of thing, because, you can't really explain away the fact that he pretty much destroyed half the city, even though that wasn't his fault. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, he just killed a guy. Superman 1 and 2, he never really killed a guy. Yeah, he put one in the, what was the dimension there? He put them in the Phantom Zone and threw them away. He spun the world back so that way he could save Lois. Whatever, great, awesome, works for me. But in this one, it's just, you gotta kind of chill on some of the characters. You gotta just. You just gotta focus in on, is this character fun, or are these characters need to be dark? Because yes, Guardians of the Galaxy was a fun movie. I didn't see it yet, and I will see it eventually because I need to. But for me, you're just like X-Men. X-Men, the way that's been portrayed, perfect. Well, except for X-Men 3. We don't talk about X-Men 3. Wolverine really wasn't. I think the first one wasn't really done that well. The second one wasn't bad. I think it was actually an improvement on the first one. But again, even Spider-Man, you can't portray him in a dark light. You have to portray him in a lighter sense, and not go too dark on him because that's not how Spider-Man is, So I think I just rambled on too far.
Well, and also, I mean, I guess real quick, Brandon Routh is he's going to be on the Flash and Arrow shows as the Atom, and they're playing with the idea of giving him his own series. Which I'm just kind of just the stuff we said before the episode. I think he deserves it. His portrayal of Superman was good. Unfortunately, the writers of the movie sucked hairy nutsack, and it's not his fault that he was given a bad script.
Right.
He has the look. He looks like a superhero. His acting was just fine. So hopefully, he'll have a second wind in his career. He'll have, a better chance, and it's still in the DC universe, and who knows, maybe it's probably better off that he gets his own TV show than opposed to,
Oh yeah, no,
doing a sequel to a shitty movie. No, because I know you like.
Oh my God!
I know you like Superman Returns. Okay, so let's wrap it up. You can visit twostrangersonepodcast.net where you can find links to everything show related. You can find links to our iTunes. If you have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, you can download every single episode of Two Strangers One Podcast all the way back to well over 2.5 years ago. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you can download the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER. It's the app that I use pretty much to listen to all of my podcasts. Mark Maron, Adam Carolla, the Nerdist, Smodcast, and of course the Tsunami Faithful podcast are all available on Stitcher.
Better fucking listen to that podcast.
What I like most about the Stitcher app is that if you are in an area, you don't have, usually, I listen to podcasts on my phone. So if I'm in a Wi-Fi spot like my house, I can download I believe it's the most recent 6 episodes of any of my favorite podcasts, put them on my phone, listen to them later so I don't have to waste my data while I'm out driving and I'm driving to work or I'm driving around and I'm running errands and stuff like that. I listen to my podcasts in the car and, that's pretty much, I listen to them at home, but I like it. For some reason, it's just something about getting in the car. It makes me want to listen to podcasts. So once again, I'm not wasting my data. I could download all of my Wi-Fi spot and then keep it moving. You can follow us on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/twostrangersonePodcast, all spelled out. It just takes 2 seconds to share the page or 2 seconds to just share this particular episode or any other episodes that you like. If you can't contribute anything to the show, just a share or a like, that shows up in your feed would be fantastic and we'd greatly appreciate it. If you if you want to get in contact with us, I didn't even check the email. If you want to get in contact with us, you can write us at Two Strangers. Yeah, Two Strangers One Podcast. Actually, you know what it is? It's set up to my cell phone, and I think if no one sent us an email this past week. You guys got to get on top of that.
Fucking excuses. You hear this, people? Fucking smack him.
No, it's up to no. Like I said, no, it's literally hooked up to my to my cell phone. But then again, I did reset my phone. Not reset my phone, but I think my Gmail reset also. But once again, you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. Let me see. You can follow us on Twitter at Stranger Podcast, a little @ symbol, Stranger Podcast. And let me see. I can't think of anything else. Can I think of anything else? No, that's about it. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
Okay, let me lift my big penis out of the way. You can follow me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. My last name is spelled Pescrillo. You can also use my ask.fm. It's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo to ask me questions. I do love answering questions, and I would love to have questions that are not Toonami. Don't get me wrong, I like Toonami, but hey, I'd like to have some other questions as well. And also, just really quickly, if you guys haven't heard, and shame on you if you haven't heard, we put out a single from Nerdcore Absolution Volume 3 early. It's called Own That by Kadesh Flow. If you guys want to pick that up, you can pick that up now on Bandcamp. It's geekyproductions.bandcamp.com. Google Play has it, Amazon.com/Amazon Music. It's the same thing. I don't know. They separate it to Amazon Music, and I'm like, but you have to go to Amazon.com. So I don't understand, but it's on there. Yes, I just probably made that more complicated for people. You can stream it on Spotify as usual. If you have the Shazam app, a lot of people have the Shazam app because, movie theaters sit there and they go, oh, well, you need to get the Shazam app when we play something so that you can get more information on this. If you use that and you use it during while the song is playing, it actually brings up the song and everything, so that's awesome. There's a YouTube music store that's being activated that is up as well, and it's going to be on iTunes. I expect it to be on iTunes tomorrow. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but I mean by Monday it should be up. So just search Kadesh Flow, Own That on iTunes. It should be up. When I do have the link, it'll go up on all of our social media feeds and everything. Just be sure to follow us on Twitter at NerdcoreCD. And on Facebook, facebook.com/Nerdcore Absolution. Those are the two main, hubs for Nerdcore Absolution. We did that just so that way, you guys can follow up on information and get the most up-to-date stuff and, be able to hear the music and get information quickly. So there's a lot more to come for that CD. A lot of artists are going to be sending me stuff. It should be out in March. With this kind of thing, it does change, so... don't be surprised if I do change the date on it, but March is looking really good for this album. So,
yeah, and also I just because I've been waiting to see. I thought once we hit January 2015, the episodes of the Jack and Triumph show were going to come out, and so far everything I've come across so far, I haven't seen any. I know they're taking a break and they're filming the rest of the season starting in March. So I don't know if that's going to push things back, but I definitely just want to let people know that don't forget that when the Jack and Triumph show comes on, I'm probably going to be promoting it like a motherfucker because, as just I'm hoping that people will recognize me and and I can say I'm that guy from the first episode. So we definitely want to get that out there once it comes out. But keep your eyes and ears open from when the Jack and Triumph show comes on because it looks fucking funny. And I was there for filming an episode and it was hilarious. And of course, I would love for them to say, "Hey, you want to come back and do some more?" Yeah. So we certainly, yeah. I've been growing my beard since then. I have this nice long beard.
By the way, make sure they tell them to come down too. So
who to come down?
I said I'll come down and do something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and so I'm growing my goatee to the point where like food is getting stuck in it, and I don't even realize it until like 20 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, something fell out of my beard. So we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening, had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers on Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. Wow.
Right.
You should be farting.
You should be fapping.
I said farting. Goddammit. There you go.
Yay.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
Look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia is spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women, Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I
and
will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.